So the 2024 model year for Harley Davidson is just about over, and it hasn't been without a lot of excitement and some really odd situations throughout 2024. Guys, my name is Rick and this is the HDVIBE channel. Did you know that select dealers have already been to Milwaukee to see what the 2025 model year is going to bring? Well guys, in today's video, I'm going to talk about what I know for sure is going to happen with the 2025 model year, and also some things that I'm pretty sure may happen, or even some things that I'm just going to predict will happen based upon some history with Harley Davidson. And we'll get into it right after this. That's right guys, 2025 Harley Davidson model year is right around the corner. So what I'm going to do today is cover some things I know is going to happen for sure, what things I think pretty sure are going to change or happen with the models, and lastly, a couple of things that I think is pretty likely based upon some of the historical patterns Harley Davidson has followed in prior years. So the first thing we know for sure is that 2025 model year carryover bikes will be arriving in dealership in about 6 to 8 weeks from the time this video is released. So somewhere in that December, late December time frame, you're going to start seeing some of those carryover models. And what are the carryover models? Well, basically the models that haven't really changed compared to the prior year, other than they're probably changing some paint schemes. So I think there's going to be several of those. The Road Glide, Street Glide, I don't think you're going to see any changes. And there's probably a couple others, probably the Pan America and maybe a few others. So that I know for sure. So the next thing I know for sure, whether it be these carryover models or even some of the new models, you're probably going to see a price increase. I think that goes without saying. I think this year, 2025, inflation is still amongst us. We all feel it all over, whether it's gasoline, groceries, housing, rent, all that has gone up. And as have wages. And if you didn't know, Harley Davidson negotiated a new labor contract with the line workers, and that increases that pay. So somehow they have to recover or cover those costs to stay profitable. So you're going to see price increases. I'm just going to give an example. I think your Road Glide, Street Glides right now, $25,999 I think is the base price. I would guess that base price is probably going to go up to $26,499 or maybe even $26,999. So I'm thinking between $500 and $1,000. So I think you'll kind of see that type of increase for sure in the 2025 model years. Those are a couple of things that I'm pretty sure are going to happen. Now here's a couple of things that I'm pretty sure could happen, but I don't know it with 100% certainty, but I would say the likelihood is probably 90 or 95%. So one, the only 107 bike in the lineup right now is the soft tail standard. I think that bike is going to go away. I live in the St. Louis area and I go to the dealerships here in this area. One, you hardly ever see them. And then two, if you do see them on the showroom floor, they kind of sit there forever. And really, if you think about it, that 107, that's been around since 2017. Everything is 114, 117 now, and 121 on the CVO model. So I think that one is going to go away. Next one, which may be a shocker, and I talked about the Road King standard about 2 years ago and predicted that that one was going to fall off the line. I think in 2025 you will not see the Road King special. Those bikes, unfortunately, they are just not competing with the Street Glide and the Road Glide. And the Road Glide is for sure selling better than the Street Glide right now. That is the in favor bike. It used to be the other way around. It used to be the Street Glide. But the Road King specials, they will sit at those dealerships for months and months and months. And at the dealership that I go to often, they've had a white one, which is a beautiful bike that I've looked at multiple times. It's been sitting there, I bet, at least 3 months. So if you're looking for a Road King special and you want to get some incentives on a 2024 brand new, go check it out at Gateway Harley Davidson, because I believe as of this recording they still have that bike in stock. So I think you're not going to see the soft tail standard anymore, and I think the Road King special is going to go away. Let's talk about a few of the bikes that didn't get changed over last year. They still had the old style fairing, infotainment systems, and specifically let's talk about the Road Glide 3 and the Tri-Glide. I think it is a very strong possibility that those will get updated with the new infotainment system and the new fairings on both of those bikes, because if you think about it, Harley's bread and butter right now is getting older. They're getting older and they're aging out of being able to ride on two wheels, so that three-wheel option is a great option. And I think in 2024 they kept those as is because they really just had to run themselves out of those fairings, those infotainment systems. And I think you'll see the Road Glide 3 and the Tri-Glide get updated. So now that leads to another interesting point. You have the Ultra Limited or the Road Glide Limited or Ultra, and those still had the old fairings and all the old equipment on them and weren't updated in 2024. So a few months ago, I was thinking there's no way they're going to bring those out with the new style on them. And one way to cut down on costs, what Harley could do is have options. They've already kind of got that, right? You want the Ultra Limited option on a Street Glide. So you get a 2-up seat, a nicer plushier 2-up seat. You get the Tour Pack. Maybe you can get the option to put speakers on that Tour Pack. Upgrade the stereo system. The only thing that it's missing, and the Road Glides and Street Glides now have the chopped engine guard. So with the new liquid cooled heads, it's different than what those old ones used to be on those Road Glide Limiteds and the Ultra Limiteds. Is, you know, that radiator was in those lower fairings, right? So with the chopped engine guards, you can't really put those lower fairings on there. So the question becomes, will they actually put the taller engine guards on there and then put those fairings on there, the lower fairings again, to block that wind, to set those up for touring? And maybe again, that could be an option. Now, I think, again, if you looked at the dealerships and what sits on the floor, those bikes, I've seen an Ultra Limited sit on the floor at one of my local Harley Davidson dealership again for months. A beautiful bike. But you compare that and the price of that to what the new Road Glide or Street Glide were, and if you even add all the equipment, it was still less expensive to get that versus this. So in my mind, that they will drop those bikes and they will just option it out. There's been a few videos on this, and I think it kind of goes back and forth. I've also seen another video recently where they think that's all going to get changed out. It's possible, but I think one way or another, you'll be able to get a bike that is either like the Ultra Limited or like the Road Glide Ultra or Road Glide Limited by optioning it out. If you think about it, it makes much more sense for the motor company to put out the same bike. They can do it less expensive. They just have different paint colors in either chrome or black. And then at the dealership level, they can sell all those accessories to make that Ultra Limited type bike or that Road Glide Ultra or Road Glide Limited. I think that's probably the way Harley's going to go, and I don't think you'll see that Ultra Limited or Road Glide Limited or Road Glide Ultra models on the floor in 2025. So let's talk about another model that I think is going to go by the wayside, kind of like the V-Rod did, and I think that is the Sportster S. If you recall, in 2024, Harley Davidson announced they were moving production of the Revolution Max engine from the US to Thailand, right? Because the number of bikes being built, and that's sitting on the Sportster S platform, as well as the Pan America, the same engine, tuned just a little different and going on different frames. But that bike, again, you don't see them. It was kind of a, I'm not going to say a gimmick, but it was sort of very popular when it first came out, really cool, a lot of power, but really it didn't really sell that well. And I think 2024 was the last year for that, and I don't think you're going to see Sportster S's at your dealerships in 2025. Said that, the Pan America, again, I think they will continue to sell the Pan America. Now, having said that, I think if you look at the Hooligan Race League, they're taking Pan Americas, they're stripping all the fairings off, and they're making those into race bikes. So with some modifications, and they're actually tuning them down. They have to be under 125 horsepower to be in that race league. So currently from the factory, they're at 150 horsepower. So here's what I think is going to happen. The Bronx has been talked about for a year, probably about the last 3 or 4 model years. I don't know, maybe they'll come out with the Bronx, but they may come out with the Pan America that is stripped down. I don't know what they would call it, but strip it down, maybe tune it down a little bit, and make it like the Hooligan Race League bikes, similar to what they did with the CVO Road Glide ST, right? They made it look like and perform like the Bagger Racing League. I think this may happen in 2025, so I think you'll see those at the actual release in February of 2025 as a new bike that's coming into the line. So a little early in the video, we talked about the 107 and that probably going away. I have another prediction which I think could be a good possibility, and that is, we know we had the 121 in the CVOs and we had the 121 high output in the CVO ST Road Glide. Harley Davidson, obviously they've got basically the Road Glide and Street Glide, and then they've got CVOs. I think this year they're going to put a model in between, and I think they're going to bring back the Street Glide ST and the Road Glide ST and put the 121 engine in that, just like they did in the 2022 model year when they had the 117 engine in the CVOs for a couple of years. Then they went to the Street Glide and Road Glide ST and put the same engine in, but they dialed everything down, right? You didn't have all the audio, the good audio. You didn't have the good exhaust. You wouldn't have the carbon fiber bits. You maybe not have the same wheels. You probably have a little carryover on floorboards from the standard models. So I think they may do that this year just to put something in between. So you get a little bit more horsepower, same kind of bike as the basic bikes, the Street Glide, Road Glide, but you get that more power. And I think if they do that, they're probably going to ratchet that price up. I'm going to say they're going to put that one right in that $29,999, right around there, just under $30,000. And maybe they don't put all of the ride modes on there. Maybe they keep the ride modes the same as what's on the regular Road Glide and the Street Glide. But I think Harley will bring back the ST models because they were pretty popular. It was that in between. They don't have the specials anymore. You got the CVOs, you got the standard models. This would sit right in between and get that 121 high output, not the VBT. I think that is a pretty good possibility. So we come to the part of the video where this is just some wild predictions on my part. But I think there is some chance that these may happen. And I've also heard some rumors that one of these may potentially happen, but I don't know. It's just outside of the realm of Harley Davidson. But there's a big market for it, and that is an automatic transmission touring bike, right? So the Goldwing, Honda has the DCT, dual clutch transmission, right? So essentially an automatic. The other manufacturers have automatic transmissions. And if you think about it again, Harley's core consumer that they're targeting again is getting older, and these big heavy touring bikes, which if you're watching this channel, more than likely that's what you have. We like those, but once they get a little bit too heavy and your hands get tired and you get arthritis and it's hard to use that clutch, an automatic transmission bike may be coming out in 2025. I'm thinking it's a possibility because they're losing out on a market share on that Honda Goldwing market share that's taking that rider away from Harley Davidson because it does have that DCT transmission, which is automatic. So I think it's possible they may come out with that in 2025. So guys, that's I know what's going to happen. Things I'm pretty sure are going to happen, and some predictions, and then some really wild predictions. So if you would, leave some comments down below and let me know what you think about my thoughts on the 2025 model year. If you have any other insights, leave them down in the comments as well. If you got some value out of the video, give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. Also subscribe to the channel. Hit that button right down here. And when you do subscribe, leave a comment down below saying I subscribe so I can personally reach out and thank you for supporting the channel. Also, don't forget to hit that bell icon and select all so that you do get notified every time I do put out new content. And with that, guys, I want to leave you with this thought. Life is short. Get out and ride the bike. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.